My wife Lynn and I have wanted to go to the Galapagos for many, many years. I did a lot of research. It was the best time of the year to go, the best month where we could get the albatross and every bird pretty much that calls the Galapagos a permanent home. But we also wanted to get on the right boat as well. I came up with a tip-top 4, and it only had 12 passengers, which was perfect. And unbeknownst to us, I booked it and that was fine, and when we started to get the information for it, it was actually a BirdQuest UK one, so we're actually on a bird one unintentionally, which was good.
Yes.
And it was fascinating to be on it, and because we're a small boat, we got onto the islands. You're only allowed onto the islands after 6 in the morning, and you have to be off by 6 at night. Because we're a small group and birding, we got on at 6, and we usually got off by 6 p.m. So yeah, it was the perfect trip. And in fact, 2 days into the trip, I was looking at our guide and thinking, we met before somewhere. And he said, no, I don't think so. And then I picked up a little book there, and everyone's welcome to have a look at that afterwards on birds, mammals and reptiles of the Galapagos. And on the back cover somewhere was our guide. Because he wrote the book. Actually, it's not there. He is, but it's a small photo. But yeah, so that's why I knew him, because I'd been reading his book before I went. Anyway, so that's how we got there. That's just a general scene of one of the islands there. I'll finish that one off the internet, it's not mine. This is basically the trip we did. Yeah, we squiggled all over the place, going to majority of the different islands. We crossed the equator 2 or 3 different times, but basically we mostly moved the boat. We'd move overnight, and we'd wake up somewhere new. We'd be off at 6 in the morning. We'd come back onto the boat at breakfast, and then we could snorkel, swim, kayak, whatever. We'd have lunch, and then about 3 in the afternoon we'd go back to a different location. And sometime we moved during the day. Isabella, which is the biggest island, we did 3, I think, different points on it, including walking up to the Sierra Negra volcano and looking in. Yeah, so just a bit of history, geography. 1,000 kilometres roughly west of Ecuador, 17,000 population and 5 inhabited islands. 19 islands larger than 1 square kilometre, and Isabella at 4,588 is the biggest. And what's that? Yeah, 430 k's from Darwin Island in the northwest to Hispaniola in the southeast, and that's got a total of 1,336 kilometres of coastline. Isabella, highest point, yeah, Volcan Wolf, where the volcano, 1,707 metres. Only 60 species of resident birds. We pretty much, I think, saw all 60. It's not hard if you go to all the right places at the right time of the year. 29 endemic birds, and also the Darwin's, of course, finches, or Galapagos finches, which are actually in the tanager family. They're not actually true finches. So, and their ancestor, I had to research this myself, their ancestor and closest relative is the grass squid. There's at least 13 species and many subspecies, I'll say, of the finches now, because they're still discovering. There is a new species which has been created. I should have put that down. I think it's between a medium and a large ground finch. There was one particular island where they only had one type of finch, and then another one came across and was so successful with the crossbreed it took about 3 generations to create a new species. And scientists were actually watched it happen. They're incredible. And like everything else, things are being split, and the more we know about DNA and everything, genetics, it's all happening. Okay, so they're very complex set of birds to identify, and very hard, because different species coexist on some islands and they hybridise, and juvenile and immature birds have different plumages, so it's hard to definitively identify a bird that you see. That's me, in action. Typical sort of, you know, black rock, volcanic rock type, sandy, gravelly sort of beach. And of course the blue-footed boobies. Yeah. Basic of it, I have enhanced the blue a little bit on that, they're not quite that blue. But for the males, the brighter the blue of the feet, the more chance they've got, and the better they can dance, the more chance there are of winning over the females. So, you know, a bit like humans, really. Don't know about the blue feet, but dancing may have something to do with it. That's more like the sort of natural colour of it. I don't know how successful it was.
How tall are they?
Just normal booby size, they're probably the same as a brown or a ganaty's a type size bird. Yeah. That's a NASCAR booby, not endemic to there, I'm not sure where else they go. But the blue-footeds aren't endemic either because they can move around to other places. These guys were quite good amongst a couple of NASCARs. You can see sort of like a typical, very dry sort of habitat, a lot of it. Waved albatross. That was the one bird we had to make sure we got there for, as you guys will know. They breed in May, so around about May, June is if you want to go to the Galapagos and you want to see waved albatross. Yeah. You can chance them out to sea, but to get them on the breeding islands is an experience worth doing. Because you get to see them on the ground as well.
Yeah, I remember.
Just greeting one of the adults coming back and doing their greeting on the nest. Sitting on the nest, and you're not meant to go within 5 metres of the wildlife, but you know, what do you do when they come to you? I just stood there and I was walking on the path and he was walking on the path, and so I wasn't moving. And
Stand off.
yeah, so he just walked around me. Galapagos dove. Didn't see too many while we're there. I think that's the only one I actually saw. So endemic bird. These guys, the flightless cormorants, first caught my attention. I was snorkeling and I was cruising along and I could see these things going round and round like a whirlpool underneath, and I said, what on earth's that? So I stuck my head up, these two, so I bolted, swam as fast as I could back to the boat and grabbed the camera while they were doing their courtship dance from above. And again, it was just sort of twisting and turning. Can you see it?
Yeah, it's good things.
Lava gull, only saw one of these, but they're a nice looking gull. I reckon, pretty smart bird. This guy, I'm going to remember, I should know this. Swallowtail gull. I don't know who got the biggest surprise. I was just standing on the cliff top photographing them flying past, and this one flew up from above and just landed there and just sort of. I looked at him, he looked at me, and then he flew away. Which was. Galapagos hawk, immature, I think, or juvenile. Might be juvenile. That's the only Galapagos hawk I saw as well. So it was interesting. Some things were common, others not so. Yellow-crowned night heron, not endemic, but they're a South American bird as well. Yep. We saw a few of those. Excuse me. Magnificent frigate bird with his magnificent pouch. Yeah, stunning birds. Typical one, Galapagos penguin with a marine iguana sort of stretched out on the rocks in the sun.
Were the iguanas all that colour, or are they different? I've seen photos of them sort of pinky red.
Oh yeah, they're different colours. Yeah. I think different islands have different species, like
Oh,
the finches and things. Different islands have different species of mockingbirds and iguanas.
Right.
Yeah,
And there's land and sea.
land and sea.
iguanas.
Yeah. I don't think I've got a picture of the land one. We only saw a couple of lands. They were the big guys that you had up on the thing. Yeah, that wasn't my photos. And that's a young Galapagos penguin just having a bit of a dry off after being in the water. And I had those guys while snorkeling as well, in amongst the penguins, and the sea lions love to come right up under your stomach and scare the crap out of you. And then they sort of, you see this face in front of your mask saying, yeah, play with me. Meanwhile, you're thinking shark or something's coming up. Did see a couple of hammerhead sharks, but they were very shy and they just went straight down. Another penguin. Red-billed tropic bird. Again, for those lucky to have been over to Lord Howe when we had one, got it on their Aussie list. Galapagos shearwater, quite a few of those, and following the boat fairly regularly. I don't have pictures, and I wish I had the camera gear I had now, but we were moored off one of the islands one night, right on dark, and there was a gathering of estimated about 5,000 Galapagos petrels coming in to roost in the mountains that night. And the people that had better cameras then with the high ISO were able to get shots, and my poor one at the time didn't do so well. In fact, on day 4, the autofocusing went completely.
Oh, great.
And luckily that Andy and Jill Swash, who was leading it, they were photographers as well, so they actually lent me a better camera than I had. So for the rest of the trip I did actually get some better photos. So got a longer lens and a better camera. The Galapagos flycatcher, again an endemic. Saw a few of those, but not a heap. The finches. So 3 separate genera. I don't know whether I'll be able to pronounce any of these probably, but Geospiza, 4 species of ground finch and 2 species of cactus finch in that one. The Camarhynchus, with vegetarian finch and 3 species of tree finches, and plus the woodpecker and the mangrove finch, which is now extinct in the wild. The year we went, about 5 years I think before that, they'd released about 6 mangrove captive bred finches back into the wild. So we were hopeful, but there was no sign of them in the known area where they were released. And then a single one with just the warbler finching. As a general guide, as it says, the adult male ground finches and cactus finches are all black. So you're pretty much going on dual-size habitat. Vegetarian finch and tree finch adult males have black heads and olive or brown streaked bodies. And the woodpecker, mangrove and warbler finch, males and females, are alike, and mainly brown or grey, just to make them tricky as well. And the key to ID, though, as I said, is the shape, structure and relative size of the bill as they've adapted to eat the different foods and things on the different islands. Because as you can see, the islands are a long way apart and vary a lot in... won't go through that, but that's a little one I found on all the different sort of bill shapes going down to the really thin pointed one of the warbler finch, which doesn't just look like a warbler. But you can see the massive big bills of the ground finch and the large cactus finch, cracking open the bigger, tougher seeds and things. Now, I have labelled these because I wouldn't remember these. So this is a large ground finch on the ground. The ground finches also go up into trees, and tree finches go up. And this is an immature bird. So you can see it's got that rufusy colour in there. Yeah, oh, massive bill. This again is a large ground juvenile, I think that one. There's the beak colour in there. Just at the bottom, he's not got his fully coloured bill yet. And this is a large large ground finch, immature male, so he's not quite got all his black yet. And then a Galapagos mockingbird sitting there looking at him in the cactus. There's 4 species of mockingbirds there, I think. I didn't photograph all of them. It was hard. Forget which one it was, but one of the islands, they said to zip up your backpack, don't leave it open because they get into it and pull everything out. They were getting into people's shoes and playing with their shoelaces and sorts of stuff. And this is the female large ground. Mediums are coming down on the ground, so this is a female or immature ground. You can see the bill's starting to get a bit smaller. Medium ground juvenile. Must have been the time of the year where they'd had a lot of young, because we didn't see that many coloured adult birds, which made it, tricky. Thank God for the guy for telling us. Small ground finch, I think there might be only one, and again female or immature, but again a lot finer bill because they're more seed, like smaller seed type feeding birds. And some of these islands only have one type of finch on, and others might have 3 or 4. It just depends. Now this is a sharp beak ground finch. Again for the finer seeds. I've got one on that. Yeah, at the top. Yeah, so this is the subspecies, also known as the vampire finch, because on only one of the islands, these guys eat the mites and get the blood from the Nazca boobies in particular. So they get onto their feathers, get the mites and get the blood, and so on. Hence the vampire finch. Okay, now the cactus, you see the cactus finch, this is a female with a grey, sort of greeny colour, really fine, sharp bill, so they can get into the cactus flowers and things like that, for getting the nectar out. And then, and this is the actual cactus finch, not the cactus finch, still cactus finch, yeah. Female or immature, and I wasn't sure with that one. You see eating something soft, I think it might be something out of the flower, sparrow or berry or something. This is a large cactus finch male. So he's all black, so he's an adult male, and then I think that's an immature female. Probably immature in the background there. So we didn't get many adult finches at all. And I think that's the same bird, so that's a large cactus finch male. In the cactus, believe it or not. And cactus finch female. Now this is my photo, but I couldn't find mine, but when Andy and Jill got back, they did like a trip report and a little booklet which we all got, and as I said, we only found 5 female or immature vegetarian finches on there, and that's actually a shot of Andy's that I used there, because I didn't get one. I did get one, I think I was find someone like a shot. And this is mine as well, but it's been reproduced from the magazine. We only saw 2 large tree finches, this one.
Excuse me, how large would a large tree finch be? I don't know much about finches at all.
Good question. The large tree finch, I've got a little book there, it might actually tell me. Probably bigger than Australian finches. They are bigger. Yeah, that's a good question. I'll have a look at it. And we only saw, I think, one of these dark-billed cuckoos, and I think I was the only one to get a shot, hence they're in there. They're not an endemic, the cuckoo. And this little guy, now we're into the tree finches. Medium tree finch, this one. Yeah, so these are the ones that are all blackhead and then a grey or green or olivey body. Small tree finch. And another small tree finch. Yep. So, I can't see the red from over here. Oh, this is the woodpecker finch. And I was fortunate they use a tool as well to get food from under the bark and things. They'll get a stick and then poke around to look for grubs. And I was fortunate enough to get one with his stick. Is that green one a pointer on it, the top one? Or does that turn it off?
It just may not work on the screen.
Oh yeah, top point.
Yeah.
You can't see Billy's got a stick from there to there, and he's poking around in this rotten wood, and he was getting out little wood grubs out there. And this is the warbler finch. And apart from the mangrove, that's it, apart from the mangrove finch, which I didn't get. And this could be one for another talk, perhaps. And you've seen this photo. This is my last trip I did about 3 or 4 weeks ago to Sabah and Brunei, and this is a crested fireback, which is normally quite hard to see or photograph. And we were just walking along the path in the morning. I could see it just in the grass. And I thought, oh, it's just going to bolt. And then it just came out on the road and pranced around. And took, I don't know, dozens and dozens of shots. What was that? Yeah, so that's pretty. And it was very early morning, so you can see it's a very grainy photo in the background. That's it.